Hi everyone, we're back with another show on the Health Manifesto podcast. Each week we explore the latest health-related science and technology, and more importantly, how to apply it to your everyday life. We're here to bring clarity, not confusion. And today's topic? Like always, it'll hit home for almost everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 5 of the Health Manifesto, and today we're moving into something deeper and more empowering. You may not feel ready for it. You may feel like you still need more answers, more structure, more validation. But what you're about to hear might be the most important message of all. Nobody's coming to save you, and that's the best news you'll hear. Because once you stop waiting to be rescued by a practitioner, a plan, a protocol, or a system, you get to come home to something far more powerful, your own sovereignty. This episode is about reclaiming that sovereignty. Not as a concept, not as a spiritual bypass, but as a lived, grounded truth. A truth that lives in your breath, your choices, your boundaries, your rhythm. We've been taught to outsource our instincts, to defer to systems, to wait for permission. And while guidance matters, while wisdom and expertise have value, the core of healing was never supposed to live out there. It lives in here. Let's talk about what it means to live as if your body is your own authority. Because that word, sovereignty, needs more than just a poetic ring. In political terms, sovereignty refers to supreme authority or self-governance. It's the power of a nation to rule itself without external control. But in the context of health, sovereignty means something more intimate. It means owning the final say over your body. It means your lived experience matters more than anyone's credentials. It means you get to question protocols, decline procedures, pause before consenting. It means you are not a passive recipient of health, but an active participant in healing. Sovereignty doesn't mean doing it alone. It doesn't mean rejecting all systems or becoming suspicious of every expert. It means knowing that no matter how much support you seek or guidance you receive, the deepest authority on your body lives within you. It means remembering that your health is not a project to be outsourced. It's a relationship with yourself. And sovereignty is the quality of that relationship. Honest, mutual, non-hierarchical. So when we say, nobody's coming to save you, we're not dismissing support. We're saying you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to come back to your body. And that changes everything. And why that's the beginning of everything. Because once you reclaim that relationship, once you stop looking for the rescue and start listening for your own rhythm, something quiet begins to shift. You begin to unhook from the false promise that someone else has your answer. You stop bouncing from practitioner to practitioner, hoping someone will finally see you. You stop chasing certainty from people who don't know what it's like to live inside your body. Instead, you start checking in before checking out. You pause before reaching for the next solution. You ask your body what it needs, not in theory, but in real time. And slowly, your instincts wake up again. Not all at once, not with certainty, but with trust. You begin to trust that pain has meaning, that hunger is communication, that energy is feedback, that emotion is intelligence. You begin to feel like yourself, not because someone fixed you, but because you stopped abandoning yourself. That's sovereignty. And it's not a destination. It's a practice. Because sovereignty doesn't just shift how you think. It changes how you move through every decision. When you're operating from sovereignty, you start to question things differently. You don't just ask, is this allowed? You ask, is this aligned? You don't just ask, is this recommended? You ask, does this resonate? It changes how you eat, not to obey rules, but to support energy. It changes how you move, not to earn approval, but to feel connected. It changes how you rest, not as a reward, but as a requirement. Every choice becomes less about compliance and more about coherence. And that coherence builds over time. You don't need to overhaul your life to practice sovereignty. You just need to start noticing. Where do you override your needs most? Where do you feel pressure to conform? Where do you hear your body speak and look away? Start there. Because every time you choose alignment over approval, your body takes a breath. Every time you pause and ask what you really need, your system relaxes. And that's the beginning of healing that actually lasts. Not because someone told you what to do, but because you heard yourself. So what does this look like in real life? It might look like canceling a plan that drains you. It might look like turning down a supplement because your body said no. It might look like walking away from a coach or a protocol that made you feel smaller. It might look like slowing down a decision until your nervous system feels steady, or letting yourself eat something joyful without explanation or guilt. It might mean asking for help without shame, or holding a boundary without apology. This is how sovereignty gets built. Not in the big declarations, but in the micro moments, the quiet pauses, the self-check-ins, the question, what do I know right now, from the inside out? And here's the beautiful part. The more you practice sovereignty, the less you fear getting it wrong. Because when you stop outsourcing your decisions, mistakes don't feel like failure. They feel like feedback, like growth. You learn, you adjust, you listen again, you keep coming home to yourself. Because sovereignty also means disappointing people. It means saying no to things that used to get your yes. It means letting go of protocols, teachers, and trends that once felt like lifelines. It means stepping away from consensus. Not to be rebellious, but to be real. When you begin living in alignment with your body's truth, not everyone will understand. Some will call you difficult, others will call you selfish. But what they're really reacting to is this: your refusal to betray yourself for their comfort. And that's where sovereignty gets tested, not in theory, but in relationship. Can you stay grounded in your knowing when others want you to doubt it? Can you remain connected to your rhythm when the world is rushing past you? This isn't easy, but it's essential. Because sovereignty isn't just about the power to choose. It's about the courage to honor that choice, even when it costs you approval, even when it means standing alone, even when it means letting something or someone go. That's when sovereignty becomes embodied. Not just an idea, but a boundary, a presence, a way of being that cannot be outsourced, sold, or silenced. And that's when something else wakes up inside you. Belonging, not to a group, but to yourself. Because once you belong to yourself, you become harder to manipulate. You're no longer swayed by noise. You're not thrown off by someone else's certainty. You're less likely to chase validation because your inner signal is strong. This is the foundation for healing, not because it makes everything easy, but because it gives you a compass, a direction that comes from within. And from that foundation, your choices begin to reflect a new rhythm. You're no longer eating to perform wellness. You're no longer moving to punish your body. You're no longer resting only when you crash. You start to live inside the body you were given, not the one someone else promised you could have. And with that comes a kind of peace, a quiet dignity, a refusal to abandon yourself for anything, even something that looks like a solution. This is how sovereignty becomes healing. Not just philosophy, not just mindset, but physiology. Because when the nervous system feels safe, the body begins to repair. And when you feel safe inside yourself, you stop needing to be rescued. You just need to be present. And that is more than enough. Let's close this together. Because what we've been circling this whole time is not just a philosophy of health, but a reclamation of self, not as an idea, but as a practice, the practice of returning to your rhythm, to your knowing, to your body, every time you turn inward instead of outsourcing, every time you ask your body before asking the algorithm, every time you trust a whisper instead of chasing another fix. That is sovereignty in action. And no system, no trend, no expert can give you that. It has to be chosen by you, for you, again and again and again. So we'll end today not with advice, not with more steps to follow, but with a breath, a reminder that you're already whole, that you already know, that your body is already speaking. You're not here to be saved. You're here to come alive. And you're already on your way. We'll be back next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Health Manifesto. This show is about one thing: helping you understand the systems around you so you can take smarter, simpler steps toward your own well-being. We'll see you next time.